of each and every one of you who go above and beyond to carry out your duties, for keeping us healthy, for keeping us safe. Because of you, we are hopeful for the future. Because of you, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We don't have enough words to express our gratitude for your sacrifices. We can only acknowledge it and say thank you. National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Good evening, everyone, once again, and a warm round of welcome to all of you on behalf of National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya, to another episode of our live panel discussion, which is titled, once again, Pandemic, Protection and Religion. Well, in this episode too, we look into the role and the responsibilities of religious leaders, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic. Before I go ahead and introduce our panelists to you, let me once again introduce the topic, because as we all know that we are going through a time, a scary time, a time that has kept all of us indoors, all of us in locked down situation, and it seems never ending. Well, ever since the last 1.5 years, we have been facing it. Initially, we were caught unawares. We just didn't know how to behave, how to act, and what we are supposed to be doing. Because this pandemic, for most of us, is something very new and very different, in fact. But then, slowly and gradually, with the support of our doctors, our frontliners, the administration, everybody, we started slowly becoming more sure of the situation. We realized what are we supposed to do and not to do, because those guidelines, those advisories kept on coming to us. Yes, we were in quarantine, we were in lockdown, but we slowly adapted and also gradually accepted the situation. Of course, since this pandemic had begun, life has changed. So many people's livelihood got affected. Schools are shut, colleges are shut, educational institutions have totally gone online, in fact. I think this is one sector that has been hit very hard. Another sector that has been hit very hard is the daily wage earners too. Markets closed down, businesses have almost shut down, the economy took a nosedive, and as I said, all our lives changed for the worse, I should say. But then we prayed, we all came together, we hoped that there will be a miracle, there will be a cure, and things will improve for each one of us. Suddenly, we felt that we are all in it together. And since the last 1 year, of course, we have been fighting it. Gradually, over the months, our scientist has been working relentlessly. Of course, we have seen lots of deaths, lots of illnesses, precious lives have been lost. Our near and dear ones, people we know, have lost their lives. But then, as I said, there is a cure finally. There is a protection finally. And that protection, of course, is the vaccination. Yes, the vaccination has come the world over, including in our country, India. And for the last few months, vaccination is going on full on in the different states of our country as well, including our state of Meghalaya. Many of us have been vaccinated. Most of us have taken the 2 doses. The 18 and the 45 age groups are taking the vaccination too. But then there are cases where there is hesitancy. People are a little worried, people are concerned, people are confused to take the vaccination. So today in this panel discussion, we would like to address these hesitancy. Why are people hesitant towards taking this vaccination? Because we all know that is the only protection that we have right now before us. And here comes the role and the responsibilities of the religious leaders as well. Because many people are citing examples, giving examples that they have faith in God, and when they have faith in God and there is a protector to protect their lives and their health, why do they need a protection like the vaccination. So I suppose we need to educate them, we need to create more awareness. And this panel discussion is all about this today. So thank you very much for joining us. And here I go then to address our most esteemed panelists who have joined in this discussion once again from Shillong as well as from Garo Hills, Tura in Garo Hills. So we have with us the Most Reverend Bishop Jose Chirakal, who is the Auxiliary Bishop of Tura. We also are being joined by Ronald Andrew Walang, who is the pastor in charge, Seventh-day Adventist Church Laitumkra here in Shillong. We are also very pleased to have with us Thinel R. Marak, who is the pastor, Garo Baptist Church, Bishnupur, Shillong. And last but not the least, we are also being joined by Swami Hitaka Mananda Ji Maharaj, who is the Secretary, Ram Krishna Mission, Shillong. So very, very hearty welcome to each one of our esteemed panelists. We are so grateful. We are feeling so honored to have you in our midst once again. Thank you so much for taking your time out and to be here in this panel discussion to address this very important question with us and with all the viewers who are watching this program live right now. Thank you very much and a warm welcome. I would like to go ahead now with the opening comments from each one of you. May I address the first question to the Most Reverend Bishop Jose Chirakal. Bishop, as I said in my introduction, our lives have changed. I'm sure you would agree that ever since the pandemic has begun, things don't seem to be like the way they used to be once upon a time, isn't it? What are your thoughts?
Good evening to all. Our lives have changed and we have begun to live with COVID. It has affected our economic life, our religious life, because places of worship are closed and our family relationships are affected, and the number of people who have died, a number of people who got sick. So as a whole, we have been struck very badly comparing to our last year's experience. Last year, initially, we had panic and we started to act immediately as soon as the lockdown was declared in the month of March. And people were more careful, I should say. But this year, somehow, the fear and panic has disappeared in spite of more sickness, more fatalities. And therefore, there is a certain amount of complacency, and there is also this problem of lack of interest for vaccination. That vaccination hesitancy is still prevalent, and people somehow are living with it, and that fear has disappeared, and those immediate steps of taking precautions are not so seriously kept. I think that is one of the reasons why the situation has become more difficult comparing to last year, because people now think that we have to live with it, and we are not going to die. This is part of life, and somehow they are ready to accept it. But I think it is a very wrong step. It's a wrong step. We have to do as religious leaders what we can in order to create awareness among the people.
Absolutely. And this program is all about creating awareness. Thank you very much, Bishop, Most Reverend, for giving us your opening comments. And may I now go to Pastor Walang. Pastor Walang, you would also agree that our lives have, changed a huge lot. I mean, let us take the state of Meghalaya. I mean, we are a tourism state where we see the state buzzing with tourists. Gone are those days. I mean, you go to any tourist site today, it is all silent, eerily silent, I would say sometimes. How much do you think the pandemic has affected your life as well as all of our lives as well?
Absolutely, without doubt, the pandemic has really affected us in more ways than one. I agree with Most Reverend Bishop, where he alludes to the fact that the pandemic has affected religious life, social life, economic life, life within a family, or we can say relationships. Uh, as far as my life is concerned, I think, we have been more busier during the pandemic, so to speak. We are at home, but yet still, we are round the clock working. I believe the same thing is with many people outside my house as well. But then, as Bishop rightly said, there's a sense of complacency almost, in the society today. I still remember last year when we got to know about the first case. When we learned about the first case, we had a lockdown. People wouldn't even come out of their house. But now, where we are having over 500 cases on a day-to-day basis, yet people are, like what Bishop said. I mean, they're not scared anymore. But this is, room for greater mayhem, and we have to be very, 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 very cautious and alert at or day-to-day activities. Yes, change has happened. We have adapted well, but at the same time, I think coming to what we are seeing right now, we really need to latch on to what is available. Talking of precautions, we have to latch on to what is available. Talking of scientific evidence, this is the best scientific evidential, data that we have. That we have to protect ourselves if we have to, beat the virus. We have to maintain proper COVID behavior so that we can keep the virus at bay. So I think this will be an interesting discussion wherein we would look at many facets, that contribute to vaccine hesitancy.
Absolutely, without any two doubts. I agree with you, and thank you so much for your opening comments. I come to Pastor Marak once again. Pastor, you would also agree as to what Pastor Walang has just said, that suddenly our lives have changed and there is a behavioral change suddenly. It's good to see, of course, sometimes when you go out in front of certain shops, you see people are queuing outside. It is a good sign, I feel. Sometimes I think that these kind of behavioral change has come into our lives. We are wearing masks all the time. That is a good thing. We are looking after ourselves. We are, of course, trying to maintain as much physical distance as possible. Life has changed, wouldn't you say, since the last 1.5 years?
Yeah, absolutely, Moshmi. And first of all, thank you for inviting. And I would like to thank even the National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya, for giving us this platform to share our concern about the pandemic and about the COVID vaccine that is creating confusion in our state as well as in different parts of our nation. As what the other panelists have spoken about the pandemic, yes, truly the life has changed, and it has contributed a lot of a problem socially, economically, religiously, as what the other two panelists have said about this. As what Moshmi had said, that every time we need to wear masks all the time, and people standing in long queue in front of ATM, in front of shops, it is not normal as how we used to live. So life has drastically been affected, and most of the people that are vulnerably affected during these pandemic times are like the people who are the daily wage earner, as well as the students who are pursuing their educational career. Everything has to be done online, and things are not so easy. So I would agree with what the other two panelists have said, that life has been affected very much.
Absolutely, yes. I think I just quickly take the opening comments of Swamiji. Swamiji, you would also agree, that the entire system, that we were so easy, we were quite laid back before, and now it is not so anymore, right? We are a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more, cautious of ourselves, careful about ourselves. How do you think the pandemic has affected, the lives around us? Very quick opening comments from you two.
The other three respectable panelists, they have very appropriately narrated the situation we are at and the gravity of the situation. You have also narrated it adequately. As opening comments, I want to go through the statistics that I collected only just about 3 hours before. In our state, the estimated population is 37.72 lakhs, whereas the already vaccination population is only 11.5 lakhs. Though on an average, daily almost somewhere around 10 to 12,000 is being vaccinated. So I think we are lagging behind in vaccination. So a lot of vaccine hesitancy is there in the state. In India, about around 1 crore 34 lakhs population, if we consider the adult population, then nearly 50% is already vaccinated. So compared to the national average, we are lagging behind. This is an area which we jointly need to address with whatever resources we have in our possession to get in touch with people. As per the faith I belong to, I have come across and we have collected the information through our different puja committees. About 85% of people are already vaccinated, and another 15% who are still not vaccinated, they have some kind of this identity proof problem. So which I wish the government is thinking that whatever be the amount, however limited number they may be, if they remain outside the vaccination coverage, they can be potentially dangerous. So some way out has to be found out.
Right.
Then rest of the things we can discuss in the course of discussion. I think this is
Absolutely.
enough for opening comment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks to each one of you for giving us your opening comments. Before I go ahead with the next segment, the most important segment of this panel discussion, I would, of course, like to remind all of our viewers who are watching this program that the government of Meghalaya, I'm sure some of us are not aware, but the government of Meghalaya has an app. And this app is known as the Behavior Change Management app. It's a wonderful app, actually, because it gives us a lot of information. You can download this app, even if you have an Android or an Apple phone, you can download it, and it will give you information such as on vaccination. You'll get information on availability of hospital beds, testing centers. And the best part about this app is that it is in 3 languages. That is in English, Garo, and Khasi. So I guess all of us can definitely download this app called the Behavior Change Management app, which is of the government of Meghalaya, in our mobile phone. And we get a lot of crucial, important information that we sometimes look for in this app as well. So go ahead, download this app, Behavior Change Management app. I'm sure it will be very, very helpful to each one of you out there. All right, so let's come back once again to this panel discussion. And those of you who have joined us right now, maybe some of our viewers are late tuners, let me tell you that this is a program of the National Health Mission. And the topic once again is of a pandemic, protection and religion, the role and the responsibilities of religious leaders, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic. So then, let me again address some questions to our panelists, because I think we have seen that a vaccination is there in front of us, but then, of course, when we take the statistics, as Swamiji has said, when we take the statistics for the rest, for the entire country, the statistics seem to be good. But when the statistics comes to the state of Meghalaya, certain sections of the population are still hesitant. They have a lot of, misgivings about this vaccination. Maybe they have got wrong information, misinformation, superstitious, information, etc. And they are not hesitant. And they have been saying that why we need this vaccination, because we have faith in our gods, and our God is going to protect us. That is good. We all have faith in our respective God. Nobody's questioning that. But then, we have to act responsibly, because only if we protect ourselves, we protect the rest of the people. Because we cannot just think of ourselves, but we have to think of the community and of the family and the society at large. So here then, I would like to come to the vaccine hesitancy that is here in the state of Meghalaya, especially in the rural, remote areas. I think, Bishop, I addressed this question once again to you, because it is a fact that, our state is a small populated state. We don't have very large number of population. And that is why it is so important to protect the people, the precious lives. And that's why this vaccination is so important. According to you, what are some of the common misconceptions that you've heard regarding people not taking the vaccination? Why are people so hesitant to take the vaccination?
What I have heard from people is a kind of talk telling that we are not going to get COVID. We are able to manage it. Some people said, last year they said, Corona dongja maija, Corona dongja. Corona is not there, COVID is not there. Then some people started saying, we can defeat Corona. After all, we have defeated malaria. Malaria kun chungam jok main takapa sabisia. Iko pa chungam naman. We can defeat this because we have already managed to defeat malaria. So I think that awareness of this disease as a terrible disease, which is going to create so much of problem, even though they have seen deaths, even though whole life is changed, that fear is not there. Overconfidence is there. And then there are some people who say, we don't believe. Even those who get vaccine, they are also getting sick. But they are not able to understand that those who got vaccine, most of them did not get serious. Or those people who got vaccine, they were careless. They were not following the COVID protocol. And therefore they got sick. And they are not aware that most people who died, they were people who had not been vaccinated. So these are some of the common perceptions, apart from question of religion, which I will come later on. But this is the common talk among our people. I think this is one of the reasons why people are not taking.
Right. And these are most of the common reasons actually in the entire state. I mean, whichever place you go, because, social media has played a very damaging role here too. Because, any message, wrong information gets so quickly viral, and a smartphone is there in most of our hands these days, even to almost to a person in the village too. But then, as I said, the government is repeatedly, let me address this question to Pastor Walang once again, because the government has lately they are giving these statistics. Even today I saw the number of deaths, and they write in the bracket the numbers of unvaccinated deaths. So it is a fact that deaths that are happening more are now the unvaccinated lot of people. Yet there is no fear in the people that that I should actually be taking the vaccine because it is protecting me. What is your thoughts, Pastor, about this vaccine hesitancy? Despite the fear, despite the deaths, yet people are refusing to take the vaccine.
Absolutely. If you're looking at our state, actually, I remember the chief minister a few weeks ago that mentioned saying that the deaths in the state amount to an astounding 90% of those who have not been vaccinated. Maybe the figures could be up and down a little bit, but I think we're hovering around that mark. Of course, when you take the vaccine based on scientific evidence, there is a 70-80% protection that it gives. But then when one takes vaccine, it mitigates the risks. And many people actually who have taken the vaccine, they've not really developed the symptoms that are so gross or grave like the ones who have not taken the vaccine. So speaking of the real factor maybe that determines these kind of attitudes in people, one is because maybe people kind of listen to hearsay, like you rightly mentioned a while ago. Something gets on social media and then the news just explodes, whereas people never validate the facts. In fact, if you're looking at today's world, we live in a post-truth world, so to speak. You speak something untruth maybe 100 times, that becomes a truth. But in this case, we cannot play with lives. I mean, we have ample data with us to suggest that vaccination provides protection, and if we are to protect our families, if we are to protect our society at large, I think this is something that we really need to latch on to. I want to harp on something that happened way back in the 1790s. If you remember, smallpox. That was the first viral infection actually that the world uh, really came about. And when you look at that pandemic or that epidemic as well, it took more than 200 years for people actually to get that rectified. Why? Because there was great hesitancy amidst the populace. So what I wish to say here briefly is this. We have a choice to make. Each of us have a choice to make. Each of us need to weigh the evidence. The evidence is before our eyes. If we wish to look the other way, I think we will have to be ready to bear the consequence. But if we are ready to evaluate the evidence, we are ready to analyze what is there before us, I think we can save a lot of lives. And maybe as religious leaders, this is something that we'll have to work towards, try and convince people, put the evidence before them, and maybe help them to make that conscientious choice.
Absolutely. And here I come with my other question, taking a cue point from what you said, the role of the religious leaders. And I address this question to Pastor Marak. Pastor Marak, the role of religious leaders is extremely important, especially in the rural areas. People don't believe other leaders. They believe a religious leader more easily because they think this person is from the house of God, and I should accept and I should listen to this person. So here comes my question. How important and crucial is the role and the responsibility also of a religious leader in doing away with all the misconceptions, with all the superstitions, and playing a role in this context of ensuring that people get convinced about the vaccination? What have you encountered so far, and what have your church and done towards it so far in eradicating the misconceptions that is there in some of the people?
Okay, thank you, Mashmi, for this question. Yeah, the misconception, the misinformations are almost all over the social media. We all can see that. People in our community, especially in the Garo Hills, they started to believe that this COVID vaccine is what is mentioned in the Bible about the biblical prophecy that at the end times that a devil would come who will have the mark of the beast, and whose number will be 666. So because of that fear that this COVID vaccine is 666, because of that also people are hesitant to come forward and get themselves vaccinated. And the other thing is that even the conspiracy theories are also circulating all over the social media. This theory says that people will no longer live after getting vaccinated. They will die within 1 or 2 years. And because of that fear, also because of such rumors as well, people are reluctant to come forward and get themselves vaccinated. And
Right.
because of such problems, because of such rumors that is circulating all over the media, I think it's very important to promote media and information literacy also, so that people will know how to find the source and the accuracy of the information, even through media. People are, without knowing the accuracy and the authenticity of the information and the content that is put out in the internet, people just started sharing. And people in rural areas, especially in villages, they just believe it, whatever this that is shared in the internet. So in such a crisis situation, in such atmosphere, the role of a religious leader becomes very important, because people in crisis situation are in hopeless, they are in a very uh, anxiety situation. So the role of religious leader is to create an atmosphere where people will trust, people will hope for the best, and people will expect that God has given us the wisdom and knowledge. Therefore, to trust the vaccine that is being available, and that is being done to the government as well as the medical department.
Right. Okay. So I just bring in Swami ji once again. Swami ji, your organization, the Ramakrishna Mission, is working in some of the most inhospitable and remote areas of the state as well. And I'm sure that you have played quite a bit of role in convincing people also, because towards this vaccination. Can you tell us what the RKM has been doing so far in promoting this awareness regarding the vaccination, especially?
Thanks, Mausumi. That we almost 4 days a week in different 4 routes our mobile medical unit goes to, and every route touches almost 8 or 10 points. They are mainly the junction of 2, 3 or more villages.
Okay.
So whenever people are coming, first we are asking them why you are not wearing mask. They have the mask, they are not wearing, then immediately they should. So in a little sarcastic way, our medical men, they always encourage that they should use mask and some other things and take care of the children and cleanliness. All these are informally told to them while attending to them about the ailments for which they have come. This is one thing. Then in our regular dispensary at Laimukra, main road, since the vaccination started, I think within first 10 days, health department approached us to give a space so that regularly on all working days they can arrange for vaccination. Immediately we permitted them. So for the last 2.5 months almost, on a regular basis, unless the vaccine supply is short, health people workers are coming and regularly getting vaccination. So Laimukra area is very nicely covered with vaccine. In addition to that, at the request of our headman at Laimukra, we have given our ashram campus also. We have that puja hall. So there, even today we had vaccination program there here. So in this way, we are participating in every possible way with the vaccination team. And so far, making our own devotees aware about that, right from the last Durga Puja, which we did as per standard protocol issued by the government. We are continuously changing, and none of our devotees visit our campus, though the number has severely reduced. But they come always with mask, and we continuously engage them. In the meantime, I have a standard procedure of encouraging people in 2 ways. In one way, we talk them about the positive side of taking vaccine. That whoever says whatever is said, don't bother about that, take vaccine. At least you won't die even if you get the disease. This is one way. In another way, in the midst of discussion and all other things, we tell about the very painful stories of how people are badly suffering, particularly those who have got affected by the coronavirus. So that type of videos, and we share amongst our devotees group this type of things also, because people generally obey rules out of 2 things, either out of fear or out of respect. So whatever we say, they may not always take seriously because we are not medical men, we are religious men. What do we know about medicine? So in that case, the second option, circulating information of very painful suffering, that creates a kind of anxiety and they are drawn towards that. And about the question that in the beginning, just in your introductory remark you said, God is there, but certainly through prayer we are not getting everything. My question is, in our scripture there is a beautiful saying, the divine dispensation is this: the animals, carnivorous animals, they survive on other animals, but they have to jump and catch the animal. The animal doesn't enter into its mouth. Nahi suptasya singhasya pravishanti mukhe mrigaha. A deer doesn't come to the lion's mouth. Lion has to sage him. So similarly, God has given us abilities, all the foods and other things are there, but we need to collect them, cook them, process them, and eat to get nutrition. So
Absolutely.
when God has given us the abilities, we must make best use of it. And that is why the proverb has come, God helps him who helps himself. So
Absolutely.
in using
Absolutely.
all this type of avenues, we are trying
Mm.
to people who are in our contact.
Right. Okay. That's wonderful to hear all the work that you're doing, especially in convincing people, towards taking the vaccination. I come to the Most Reverend Bishop once again. Most Reverend Bishop, what is the scene like in Garo Hills? Because we are more aware of our side, the Khasi Hills, the Jayanti Hills. What is going on in the Garo Hills area? How is your church and, doing the role of convincing people? And when they are hesitant, what more you think needs to be done really in this regard?
In Garo Hills, I feel as a whole, the situation is quite good. Vaccine hesitancy is not that much. The West Garo Hills has been doing very well, quite well, comparing to the other districts. And most of our Catholic institutions are in West Garo Hills.
Mhm.
Two areas doing quite badly are South Garo Hills and North Garo Hills. We
Okay.
have very few institutions there. But as far as I know, those places are also more remote, and it is difficult to reach out to people, especially now there is a curtailment of movements, and then religious places are closed, and then religious worship is also not permitted. So in the village levels, so much of visits are not taking place, especially because of two remote areas. But I feel as a whole, from the point of religion as such, I don't think there is much of hesitancy in Garo Hills. That is my experience. I mentioned some points, but this kind of hesitancy, I don't think it is coming from religious beliefs, because there is nothing in Christianity which goes against vaccination, in my belief, and it is my firm conviction. Because we in Garo Hills, the bishops were the first ones to take vaccine, including the 90-year-old emeritus Bishop George Mamleseri. And Pope Francis was also the first one to take in Vatican. And he said taking vaccine is not only morally licit, but it is a moral obligation for yourself, for your family, and for your neighbor and the society. So this is what we are trying to do through our churches, through our priests, religious, and our faithful scattered all over Garo Hills.
Right. So I bring in Pastor Walang once again. Pastor, can you cite certain examples like what the Most Reverend also has said, that in the Bible we don't have any such thing that, don't take the vaccine, don't get yourself protected. There's nothing like that. So can you cite certain examples which may be there in the Bible too, as to how important it is it is everybody's responsibility really to protect not only oneself, but also protect others in their turn?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Day. I wish to address it this way. When you look at the scriptures, the Bible that we use, and in fact, it's true with many denominations and many religions. We always look for a positive thing. In a sense, why is there religion or why is there a church? Because we want to save lives. I'm talking from the Christian perspective. We are in the process of saving lives, we say. Lives which is spiritual in nature, but at the same time, when you look at the Bible throughout, I just want to cite a text that we find actually in the third letter of John, verse 2, where it says, God is so concerned of us and he wants us to be in good health. God is not really happy when someone is sick. Of course, in this world which is flooded with sin, we have to go through difficulties and sickness. But God is so concerned that all of us have health. The wise man says in the book of Proverbs that the wise look after knowledge, and knowledge that convinces them. And I also happened to stumble across a very beautiful proverb that I find in my scriptures, laughter is the best medicine. So the Bible is not against medication. The Bible is not against vaccination or inoculation per se. The Bible teaches us that we need to strive towards a healthful living. I want to mention another point here. We all live in this world, and whatever knowledge we have, whatever wisdom we have, it is all God-given. And if you really look at God, God wants that the human race needs to be, needs to be healed, so to speak. Now, coming to the case of the pandemic, of course, we are talking of the COVID-19 pandemic right now. I think the very fact that a vaccine came in a period of just 1 year, there has been some divine intervention here. All right, we'll not get into the nitty-gritties here, but let's just talk in broad strokes. We don't have maybe a system that is foolproof, even in diseases that has affected human race for decades and maybe for hundreds of years. But right now, as we talk, in the case in point, the COVID-19 pandemic, I think God wants us to be whole. God wants us to be healthy. God wants us to live a happy life. And we can do that actually by trusting in Him. See, I think I personally feel that faith cannot be presumptuous. Faith is never presumptuous. Faith cannot exist in a vacuum. Faith is something that happens day in and day out. Faith is something actually that is very pertinent to the ways how God works in our life. Of course, our scripture says that faith is believing in the unseen. But when you look at scripture in totality, faith actually is based on evidence. And now if you and I have to believe in what we have at hand today, we are talking of the vaccine, I think based on the evidence, we can establish that the vaccine can do something to protect us.
Absolutely.
So all I wish to say is this.
Right.
As we live in this world, especially in the state, it's very much incumbent on us to really look at the good side of things. Of course, it is one thing to take something out of fear. Maybe it's something to take something out of respect. But I think in between this, there is evidence. And evidence that is not just hearsay. It is evidence that convinces the mind. And I would like to salute the scientists who have come about with this. And I urge everyone actually to really consider this conscientiously. And we have to really make a choice, because if you have to save yourself, if you have to save the community at large, I think this positive choice is very, very, very important.
Absolutely. And I'm so thankful that you've stressed on this. It is indeed now or never, to rely on this, on our scientific community who has been working very hard, and they've brought out this. It didn't come easy. They worked day in, day out, sleepless nights. I'm sure they had to. And then they found this protection, and we need to go ahead and take it. But then in the next segment, when I come back, we will be talking specially on the hand-holding between the government and the religious leaders, how important it is actually for the government agencies, for the government and the religious leaders, religious institutions also, to hold hands together and work together towards this cause. We will come back in the next segment, but before that, we are just going in for a very, very short break for some important messages. Viewers, stay with us. We will be right back.
Hey Kongdeng, where to? Seems like somewhere special.
Yes, it's special. I am very proud to be a part of India's largest vaccination drive.
Are you not worried?
Why will I be? Instead, I should be worried if I'm not vaccinated.
But people are saying so many things.
People will always have something to say.
Will it really protect me from COVID?
Vaccination doesn't mean you are 100% COVID proof, but your immune system will be strong enough to fight even if you contract COVID-19 and it is not life-threatening.
I heard it has severe side effects.
There may be mild side effects like fever or chills or maybe headache. But that's normal, it will wear off on its own.
But is it really safe?
Of course, it is absolutely safe and backed up by medical professionals. Doctors, engineers, politicians, and many more are chosen from all sections of the society to be vaccinated.
Yes, you are right. I will also get vaccinated immediately.
Don't waste your time anymore listening to fake news and gossip. Take a decision to get vaccinated with confidence.
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Kublai, atu pitep bayu knyang jepang COVID khat khandai la ban pendu jan da manga wat mapi hoi ringkat lang nila ali bat nga nan peni kumno hagunu no gupor ba pijer ho ni senria kunma berbor ba pidai bandai la ka chintur da ka jan rumal kat bala yele ban perkhingil dia ban kta ila ki khman ka khmut bat ila ka chintur saj bhai ila ki jongki kti da ka sabon kumba arpho second AA penjangai iwe ni iwe bat da kimau ban yeng jangai kumba nruput AA kabakong san e kadai ban dengi ki mas man la ka por kawi ka surgical mask bat kawi ka mas jan nalor lada pidan ka no ga jimpang kum ka jirho kishit penhiar thaj man ka por shitom ban ring man siam do ka bor jingman bat ka bor jingsma phone Shaki Health Center ki bidan hajan jongpi lani pila ban call yau ni toll free number iwe sao iwe not nam ta kinogino ki jingiram yaram ingi bangin yaram ipi
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you very much for staying on with us. Let me just remind you once again that you are in a live panel discussion being brought forward on behalf of National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya. And today, of course, the topic is pandemic, protection and religion. And herein we are looking into the roles and the responsibilities of religious leaders during this COVID-19 pandemic. And we are, of course, very, very delighted to have a very esteemed panelist with us. We have with us the Most Reverend Bishop Jose Chirakkal, who is the Auxiliary Bishop of Tura. We also have as a panelist Ronald Andrew Wallam, who is the pastor in charge, Seventh-day Adventist Church in Laitunkra, Shillong. As our panelist, we also have Thinel R. Mara, who is the pastor, Garo Baptist Church, Bishnupur, Shillong. And we also have with us Swami Hitakananda Maharaj Ji, who is the Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Shillong. So those of you who have joined us late, let me tell you, you've missed quite a bit of interesting discussion that we had so far. But then we still have a couple more. I'm sure that we will continue to have a very fruitful discussion. So welcome back, our panelists. And as I said before going in for that short break, that when we come back, we will be looking into the, the holding of hands between the government and the religious institutions or the religious leaders in changing mindset. I think this is very important at this juncture, that if we can work together, if all agencies can work together, I think the results will be much more fruitful. Let me come to Pastor Thinel R. Mara. In this regard, or in this context, how important do you see personally, you feel, that holding hands together to fight together, to change mindsets together, how important it is?
Okay. Thank you, Moshmi. Yeah, it's very important as of now when people are hesitating to come forward to get themselves vaccinated. It is very important to create an awareness program along with the government officials, the health department, taken up together and holding camps in the rural areas and make people aware about the importance of this vaccine, as well as also telling them that if they are not getting themselves vaccinated, the virus is so vulnerable, it can attack everyone, it can spread to everywhere. So taking that into mind, we can health programs in the rural areas. We can conduct some kind of programs even through the churches by collaborating with the medical team, and then conducting such programs so people would be aware about the importance of this vaccine. And talking about the vaccine and the vaccine hesitancy, especially in the Garo community, in my community, there are people who are like what Bishop had said in the beginning. they take it very lightly. They are very complacency. Some say that this is just some kind of malaria, some kind of common cold, which would come and which would go away. But then people are not so serious. But then, like what the bishop had said, that as a Christian, as a Bible believing Christian, we should not be hesitant to come forward and take vaccine. But then there are certain people who are reluctantly, even though they believe in the Bible, they believe in God, but still they are reluctant to come forward and get themselves vaccinated because certain beliefs and certain Bible prophecy, which is mentioned in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16 to 18, as I have mentioned in the beginning, about the mark of the beast, the 666 people are thinking that this vaccine is that mark of the beast. Because of that reason, also people are not coming forward. So I would like to tell my Garo community a little bit in one or two in my languages. Ya sumayo ang ni plak khasarang ni acek jong adar pengang na ya sumayo vaccine ni gaman aro COVID pandemic ni gaman kadeke hanan nagka manderang ya vaccine ko chadok sutok tok ni bibera inga aro un baksana yara ramra mai gapa sabi sisa ni menani graira tokinga mani gaman nanga de plak ang ni acek jong adar pengang nake thul gapa khatarang Baby Raja China aro anatang ko ya sabisyon ni khasa ka manjong adarang ba ya sabisyon ni jokna mangen antang ni khasa ka manrang ko nami dakira kina taman gen aro yar chadok sotok tok nambarara mamun dakki mangba nakta ya subsal sumayo manja may na giman ya ko COVID vaccine ko chadok sotok tok ni baby rakin chmode ancheng thuli baby rak basano aigin Mena ya dakapa even nara local event nomja ba national event nomja agar sakamakan ya event ko ya chatok sotok ko chagronggen when given Meghalaya ya was tom ani giman ya ko chatok sotok ni bibera ani na men to le bibera ani sanoya. So I would like to tell even the people to come forward and take get themselves vaccinated and help the medical department as well as the government officials who are working day and night to vaccinate in the rural areas, who are doing work, who are working day and night to promote a good life and good health for the people. So I would like to encourage to come forward and get themselves vaccinated.
Absolutely, and it's wonderful that you spoke certain lines in Garo also for our Garo listeners and viewers who are watching this program. I'm sure, listening to you, they are feeling a little bit more confident, and I'm sure that they are also, would feel more impressed to go ahead and take the vaccine. I would like to now come to Swamiji once again. Swamiji, as I addressed this question a little while back, I'm sure that you will also, understand and you would, understand the need of holding hands, that agencies along with the government should come together to work, to collaborate and to work together. Tell us some of the innovative ways. Of course, there has a lot of innovative mechanisms that has been adopted so far. But what, according to you, are some of the innovative ways that can still be, adopted, especially towards the rural areas? Because I think convincing the rural areas is more important because they are a little remote. Maybe information do not filter, the correct information do not reach them also. So here lies the role of the government as well as religious leaders also to go ahead and pass messages to them. They have been doing so, but I suppose some more needs to be done. So according to you, what are some of the innovative methods that can be adopted further towards, making the people aware in the rural areas, and those in the cities also are still hesitant about the vaccination?
Thanks, Mausumi, for the proposal. What immediately comes to my mind is, if even the last government, when with the members of All Faith Forum, the health minister had a program at Secretariat, then also this issue came. One beautiful thing I have noted, how Bangladesh is campaigning against this COVID-19 removal of misconception about this vaccine and other things. Without going, the people are composing beautiful songs and with the accompaniment of the indigenous instruments in local bazaars and other places and villages, they are singing it, that this is the only option. Without it, your life it has danger and so many things. So through entertainment mode, by creating videos, street plays, and other things with the help of the artists associated with Ministry of Art and Culture, I think live shows can be made in the form of entertainment in darbars or the small areas where people can sit isolated with social distancing. In villages, it can be organized. On marketplaces, it can be organized, even on daytime. And sometimes this type of videos to encourage vaccination, to remove misconception about vaccination, showing famous film stars, sportsmen, famous political leaders, they are coming forward taking vaccination. This type of documented and pre-planned things, as it earlier used to be publicized among rural areas through Department of Visual Publicity. This type of thing can be done. And suppose we go to villages. Generally, we organize the camp in the morning half only, up to 1:30 or 2 o'clock. If necessary, if we get this type of material with us, with the help of a projector or large screen TV, we can go to those villages where we are going for giving medicine. We can show these also to people to create awareness. I think this type of program to encourage people or motivate people through entertainment mode is a very big option that can be exercised. And it should be associated with all other related things as well.
Absolutely.
And I think people of this entertainment world, they can program it better. And I suggested another thing also. Suppose many people are creating negative videos and publishing it in social media. Similarly, to encourage vaccination, to remove vaccine hesitancy, young people can be invited to create short documentaries of at best 3 to 5 minutes, not more than that. If they are up to the mark and presentable, they will be given a lump sum as prize money. So the energies that are going in wrong channels, in spreading misconceptions, they can be channelized through this incentivization to create awareness. I think this is a very good option.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll just quickly go to the Most Reverend Bishop also. Bishop, you have any innovative innovative mechanism also to address to go ahead and address this vaccine hesitancy as well? Quickly, your thoughts on this?
I think only to create awareness with the possible available means, because smartphones are not working, people don't have internet connections. It has to be through natural means of communication from people to people, and especially in the rural areas, through the institutions that we have. For example, our Bagdil run PHCs are doing a wonderful work. And then if you have people in different areas, they will be able to reach out to people. I would like to add one more point with regard to that 666, if you allow me, because that is a misconception in many minds. That passage is coming from the book of Revelations, written by St. John. And biblical scholars are telling that that passage is a reference to, numerical reference to Emperor Nero, who was the emperor and persecuting the Christians that time. So it has nothing to do with vaccination. It has been a rumor always whenever there was enrollment for voters ID, when security numbers are given. So I think it is absolutely ignorance of the Bible in order to link these two with vaccination.
Right. I'm so glad that you have removed this misconception, and coming from you, I'm sure that it is being taken very positively. Because as I said right at the beginning, people are superstitious, people rely on misinformation more than the correct scientific evidence that they have, and that is what we should be doing. Right?
And I would like to add one more
Right.
point.
Mm.
Yesterday, I was watching the CNN live telecast, and
Right.
there was a live interview of one Mr. Travis Campbell. He was in the hospital bed, and he was interviewed, and he said, "I made a mess of my life by not taking vaccine." I think we should be innovative to give the real life experience of people who have survived COVID. This will be more, reaching out to people, because people do not know how and what they have undergone these very difficult moments.
Absolutely. Live testimonies of people also can play a very, very crucial role. I just like to bring Pastor Walang in once again right now. Pastor, as I said, vaccination is the only medicine that we have with us. We don't have anything else. We don't have a pill or to contain some of the symptoms if we get COVID. Those medicines are used, but in the long run, to protect ourselves, we have the vaccination only. So can you just speak to us a little bit in Khasi as well right now and cite this very crucial need and the importance of vaccination for all the people who are watching in Khasi, in Khasi also. Just go ahead with that, and then we will be coming to the question answer session, because we have a Q&A session. Some of the questions have come from our viewers who are watching this program. We'll take that in a short while, just after you finish addressing in Khasi as well. Pastor.
All right, thank you, Dr. Day. Kiparlok kibapet yung program. Kaniga jing kren jongi kaniga singi kadai shapang kajing athir jumut shapang kajing don kam yangi bangin shimu vaccine. Haba ni pet ya kajing tray kam jong vaccine. Ka vaccine jing sha kaya rap ha shibon kiliang rengan persang ban batay kaniga rukam. Shumudor kilat sagatma. Ki shipai ke badai wan le chagat ma malaga singi haban train yalade ki shipai ke badai wan le chagat ma malaga singi haban pen bet pen biang ki tiari le thma baro uni vaccine habangi ngi shim hagamet ke jongi upen kre yakini ki pngit lane gini ki cells ki bron hagamet ke jongi ke bangi khot ki white blood cells but ki benta ki balongkum ki ke defense system hagamet jongi bakin nang banyele persya ladai bawan unu kenyang pat hagaji im jongi dan ban tai kamet jongi parolok kuman ono vaksin upen kre yangi bangin yele pat ya kata katma hakabangin la ban job ya ka kadon gawe ka kajing batai shapang batai di scientist shapang kaneka vaksin ki habak inject nagakti ki inject hejing sha de kini ki knyang ki ba tlot ki ong ki weak strain ki inject ini apa ki inject ka met jongi ka don response system hejing sha ban let ban ye let persha itu ki knyang no ka met jongi la de badon ka no ka foreign body ka wan ha ka met jongi ke let persha ya ka te haba ni shim ya vaccine kamet jongi hejing sha ka long prepared hejing sha lapan kre kamet jongi balade ba wan no coronavirus wan ban ta kamet jongi kanega vaccination kan penloy kamet jongi hejing sha ban la ban le persha tak daw ki scientist ki kumeng lai ban untuk menai ki scientist ki lab bat ka data ka don bagi bridging sha ka bio ka vaccination ki kam tuna ya ka jing shakta unu knyang kila ban shio biong kle kila ban shio ginger ho malu malain rai ki jam no lan pipet hi salansar kuma prapo persen nagi brig bio unu knyang ki jam hi daladi darang ni pat ni ai ya ka vaccine ka pen cleanse sho ka met ka jongi ni don vaccine na benta babon ki jingpang ni don vaccine na benta smallpox lane u nyang thliu bangi jukhot ni don vaccine na benta polio ni don vaccine na benta nong no u vaccine na benta ki jingpang ki ba per ni don BCG vaccine ta ter kumi klung ni shep lada utu ai ke jingerap balai baka katna ka koi ka kya ka penslori ki breo jing shap kin ai ka vaccine mentaro kene ka kanti ko ki parlok to ini perkhat sani bahalor kene ka jing don kam yangi banyada kam daya banyada ingi marwai rangi hap banyada yaki wair ki baran hajan jongi tika deka vaccine jing shaga bala ampen kre yangi hoi rengkat ni shania au play rengkat ni pediang yaki jing penshai ke jong play halor kini ki ai baro nai khatu ewai ublay kwa ingi bengin don ka kwat ka khia ngadwai bala se mangi baro ngin ya light not na kane ka khlam ngin la ban sedang ngi kam gi jam gi jongi ngin sedang ngin la ajing sha ban lech ki school ngin lech ki mane ngin lech sha ki kam gi jam jongi malaga sngi ha ka bangin don kam ban ti ngin don kam ban pet ki wai pat de ki khmat ki ba ki bam la ban shania to blain ker khu ngi kat bengerai halor kane ka pha.
Absolutely, Pastor. I mean, you have impressed once again that the sooner we all get vaccinated, the sooner we will get back into the normal state that we are so used to. And it is now or never. Yes, indeed, we should go ahead and get ourselves vaccinated. We don't have very many questions, but one very interesting question has come, and it is from Shovik Das. And I have found it very interesting, and I would like to take it up. He says, how can faith and sensibility coexist? How can faith and sensibility coexist, he writes. Very nice question, I thought. I mean, we have faith. Sometimes we are insensible too, but we need to be sensible. How can it coexist? I leave this question open to any of our panelists who wants to take up this question. Shovik Das says, how can faith and sensibility coexist? Any of our panelists would like to take this question up? Yes, Maharaj. Yes.
I think faith actually builds up on sensibility. If a man is reasonable enough and he assesses all the events of his life, he has to agree that whatever happens in his life doesn't depend only on his own will at all. The life of human beings move on two wheels. On individual effort, the other one is God's will. On this two wheel, the axle of our life moves on. So without sensibility, without clear reasoning, genuine faith cannot come. So they are interdependent. So I don't find that there is any contradiction between having belief in a faith which appeals to our reason sufficiently and acting according to it. At the same time, suppose I have got a severe disease, however, whatever amount of prayer I do, it is God's messenger as doctor who will come and save me. So the question is, that is why we are paying so much respect to the frontline workers, doctors, etc. So I think the question of the faith and sensibility, by sensibility, what he understands, I do not know. But by sensibility, I means he wants to mean that clear reasoning, rationality, and genuine faith, they are mutually complementary. They are not contradictory. So it is perfectly possible.
Absolutely. You can have faith, you can have sensibility also, and it can move side by side, right? We are almost into the 1 hour, 10 minutes now, and I need to wrap up this panel discussion. It's been very interesting, insightful also. So to take, once again, to come to each one of you, Most Reverend Bishop, as we are winding up and wrapping up this discussion, what would be your final words of wisdom to all the people who are watching this program? I just give you 30 seconds, really. What would be your final closing comments on this as the viewers are watching this program right now?
Yeah, somebody said, God, why have you not done anything because of this COVID, you are silent. And God said, I have created you. You do something. And this is exactly the scientists have done. They have made this vaccine and given to us. And it would be foolish not to take it because this is what we have and this is the best what we have. It would be foolish to refuse when God sends people to us to save us. Like a priest who was in the flood, 3 people came with the boats to save him. And he said, I trust in God. I will wait for his providence. Finally, when he went to heaven, God said, when he complained to God, God said, I sent 3 people to you and you refused to get into the boat. Now what can I do? So this is we have to believe in people, we have to believe in scientists and doctors, and we have to cooperate. God works through them. And faith and reason are not opposed at all.
Absolutely. And quick closing words, a message also in Garo. Bishop, a quick message.
Beberani aro anjingni chanchiani gise contradictory ongja mungsani kosa po mungsa ongja isolan anjingna jokatani cholrang ko ninga dokterangan yes vaccine ko anjingna thari onjo ya isol ni ongamai namko pa chol ko rae anjing vaccination ko rana ar ya sabisi ko anjing champeng na joton khana maina isolan anjing na ya chol ko mese ko ninga ini anjing beberana hai anjing plakan amadipet ya nambat ko po chol ko jakhalna aro vaccine ko rawo ba anjing simsakna anjing jakrang ko suna anjing ni mask rang ko ganna aro selgir ke dungna aro ndikin anjing ya sabisi ko anjing ni ya Meghalaya champeng na mangin aro tharaki anjing olakiani biap rang ko kulina mangin school rang ko kulina mangin aro ramrang jangi tangani na yang kulina mangin mitela.
Absolutely. Closing comments from you, Pastor Walang. The viewers are watching. They have enjoyed listening to you. What would be your final words to them right now?
Thank you, Dr. Day. Finally, I just want to say this. Faith makes sense. Faith is not insensible. Therefore, what we have to do right now is to apply the faith that we have, the faith that can evaluate the evidences that are there before us. If we miss that, we miss the bus, I think. All I want to say to the viewers watching the program, if it's bad, I don't think so we would ever be having this program in this manner. But because this is something that could save a life, this is something that could save a community, this is something that could save our dearest ones. I've seen a few of my relatives and my friends, when they lose their loved ones, they don't even have time to mourn. Just a few days ago, actually, we buried one of our members. The family members could just barely have 5 minutes with her at her house, at the house. I think it's better for us to take that adage or that proverb, a stitch in time saves 9.
Absolutely. Wonderful. And yes, Pastor Marak, your closing comments, maybe you can give it in Garo also for our Garo viewers who are watching this program.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mushmi Day. The Bible tells us, love your God as you love your God with all your heart and with all your soul, as well as love your neighbor as you love yourselves. So if you're concerned for your neighbor and if you love yourselves, get vaccinated. Ya semua yang ni plaga cek jong adar pengarna nam neka yusoli katawa kana na antam yusolna katung gemakci bel gemakci jangi gemakci ka sabu aro antam yusungsul na ba antang na retan ka sabu ne kana ni geman antam jong adana ka sam ode aro yusolo bibir agapang ode aro yusolo ka sa agapang ode ya vaksin ko shuna aro antam ko naljogatna aro ka sa menang ba naljogatna plakon tela.
Thank you very much. And Swamiji, maybe you could give your closing comments in Hindi, because I think this is, we have missed this much. If you would like to address, giving your closing comments in Hindi as well, Swamiji.
All the learned panelists, and on your part, you have excellently discussed everything. बहुत अच्छा तरह से सब कुछ डिस्कशन हुआ है हमारे बीच में, and in local dialect also people have been given what our revered pastors, bishops, Mr. Marak, they have all given. So मैं एक प्रार्थना से मेरे फाइनल कमेंट्स देना चाहता हूँ. एक प्रार्थना जो बहुत अनादिकाल से since time immemorial have been taught to Indians. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. हर प्राणी, हर इंसान जो ये पृथ्वी पर है वो सब स्वस्थ रहे, सुखी रहे, कोई दूसरे किसी को पीड़ा के कारण, जंत्रणाओं के कारण ना बने. And let us all live together, and I pray to God that He gives us clear sense to follow the dictates of our scientists and also follow the great advices of all founders of great religions, and let us be free from all diseases and try to convince others or rather help others in as many ways as we can to free ourselves from this curse. God's grace is always there on us. All we need to do is to only play our part of intelligence that we have been endowed with.
Right, right. Because, we always sometimes think of our rights, we forget that we have duties, because rights and duties go hand in hand. If I have the right to live, somebody else also has the same right. And I also have the duty, and my duty right now is to listen to what our scientists have given us, to listen to the administration and to follow the rules and to get vaccinated. As Pastor Walang said, that only when one loses a precious life, or you've seen a precious life going, do we really understand, do we sense the loss, the grief, that the pain that one goes through. So all the viewers who are watching this program, let us not go through this pain anymore, and let us not ensure that we can get rid of this pain, of this uncertainty, and the only way, and the one and only way, is to get ourselves vaccinated. That soonest we can come back to our normal activity and our normal life that we were used to. Thank you so much, each one of our panelists, for giving us your precious time to address this very important topic today that we have taken up: pandemic protection and religion, the role and the responsibilities of religious leaders during COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to thank Most Reverend Bishop Jose Chiracal, the Auxiliary Bishop of Tura. Thank you very much, Most Reverend, for giving us your time. It's been wonderful to listen to you. I'm sure that the viewers who have watched this program has felt inspired and motivated after listening to you. I also would like to thank Ronald Andrew Walang, who is the pastor in charge, Seventh-day Adventist Church in Laitungkra, Shillong. Pastor Walang, wonderful. It was so enlightening to speak, to listen to you speak, and I'm sure you have also, helped change minds today. Thank you so much for your precious time as well. I also take this opportunity to thank Pastor Thinel R. Marak from the Baptist Church, Bishtupur, Shillong. Thank you, Pastor, for your time. It was wonderful listening to you as well. And last but not the least, Swamiji, Swami Hidekamananda Ji Maharaj, Secretary, Ramakrishna Mission, Shillong. I can't thank you enough for giving us your precious time and speaking so wonderfully in addressing this discussion today. I know time is precious and time is ticking, and that is why it is so important for us to act before it is too late. Thank you once again, and thanks also to all the viewers who once again have joined us in this live panel discussion today. Until next time, On behalf of everybody from the National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya, I thank you. Do take care of yourself, stay safe, get vaccinated, please. Until next time, bye-bye and good night.
Ade bachi nasa dali dengtang manche hari angya.
Oin dinagdan India soni dat batsrang ba tikako shuani bakra phana nakyang ade.
Nade tika ko suna kin pajama ade.
Maina se ken phagno tika shujo sanga kena nang bata.
Endi ba ye tika ni gimende manderang de rokhom rikdagan binga de.
Mandirang di phangnan ji jakuba aga nagin.
Dako dia tikara naljokanig nang ma.
Owe ye tikako shuon nak na chasa person naljokani ko ngen ye de unjaba. Endi ba covid sabisi ko matno ba nak ni be ani ngo ye sabisi ko blaki na awara chakna gta man gno. Aro jangina mahamun ken chakani dongjawa ha.
Ayo ade ye tika shuani jak mande manderang beljummi sa thokingan ya kan thoknge de.
Tika suanchi sanuba be eno dengas na arus kusanirang dongnawa genang. Endi ba tika suan jamano yerang de ongrong biwalsa antangtangan na mangagin.
Dako dia tikara naljokanig nang ma.
Owe iya ko gisgrabo sanna bananio nami wi masigparangan ya tika ko rachakaha. Doktorang, engineerang, politicianrang, jaurato dakmesokubarang aro songsarni ba manderangan ya tika ko suna gta ba seira tokaha.
Ayaw ade abanak mga tika suna jak rpai gnok.
Manderangni skathang agan jojonirangko aro tolle gepat khoborangko na akna tnabe. Tika suani shomai sokon na tika ko shuera bo.
National Health Mission, Government of Meghalaya.